this is, as one reporter put it, a lot to do about shell bills, and shell
Right.
bills get passed all of the time. But this also has to deal with the map, and this comes in a weekend of a lot of criticism. Is this something that the Democrats should have expected? Is this the routine criticism, or is there something particular about this that goes beyond?
There's something clearly about this that goes beyond the normal for two reasons. One, this is an issue of paramount importance. The lines they're drawing are the lines for the decade. I mean, this is it. So one, you're dealing with an extraordinarily significant issue. Two is all of the promises that the Democrats have been making for months now about how this redistricting process was going to be substantively different than the one that we had before. And it's not. I mean, have there been a few hearings on the front end when people were commenting on no map at all? Yeah, there have been, absolutely. And now we have the State of Illinois Voting Rights Act. But the test of whether or not the process changes is whether or not the Democrat-drawn map is out there for a period of time for public scrutiny. The shell bills that passed today, which, by the way, none of those were the bill that all of the witnesses at even yesterday's hearing were told would be the right bill number. Putting shell bills in position like this is positioning the Democrat majority to be able to put a map out there, have it sit for an hour, and then blow it through the General Assembly in less than a day. And that's unfortunately what they're positioning to do.
And that doesn't have to be the map that has been out there since Thursday.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we expect it won't be. We expect that they'll make some changes, and the one that actually, if they're successful and becomes law, won't be what was unveiled Thursday and Friday of this past week.
Walk me through the timeline where we get from now till the 31st. Sort of, I know that bills have to be read 3 times. These were the shell bills here in the Senate. I mentioned the House, but what are the dates? How do we get with the math on when we need a vote from here till the end? And is there any way that's going to happen before the 31st?
You make it. It's very difficult for it to happen unless the Democrats decide to waive the posting notices that are required by rule. And they can do that with a majority vote if they waive those posting notices, and again, blow this map through here with literally 1 hour notice. So those 3 shell bills are now over in the House of Representatives right now. The 6-day posting notice applies to those bills. They're not in today, so that clock starts tomorrow. Well, 6 days from tomorrow is May 30th. So you're right up against the wall. One of the issues that the Democrats clearly face here is Pat Quinn. Governor Quinn has been out there publicly and repeatedly saying he wants a fair map, that he wanted a better process. We didn't get that better process where incumbent legislators wouldn't be drawing it, but he wants a fair map. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Governor Quinn to take his time, examine the lines, and if it's not a fair map, veto that map. Well, if they put him up against a wall, all that action could take place, and we leak into June. And what happens is June is a supermajority requirement takes effect, and then Republicans would be involved in this process as well, something that I assure you, obviously, the Democrat leaders want no part of. So that's the reason we expect they'll be waiving these posting notices that we talked about before and moving this bill through, unfortunately, very quickly.
If the shoe was on the other foot, if the Republicans had won the House, had won the Senate, had won the governor's mansion, would this be the roadmap? Isn't this what you do when you win? Isn't this why the last election was so important? Because it decided the map?
Well, the last election was important because of the map generally, but now we're talking about betraying promises and commitments that were made, about public input and about transparency on the map. I mean, yesterday at the committee hearing, the weekend committee hearing in Chicago, the Illinois Campaign for Political Reform and Change Illinois stood up and ridiculed the Democrats for this system after listening to all these words and reading all these press releases about transparency and public input. Now they're doing what they've always done here. So this doesn't have to be the way it is. The rules in the Senate and the rules in the House call for 6 days for everyone to sit down and take a look at what's being put out there. But again, when you waive those posting requirements, like what the Democrats are going to do here, this is the way the process moves.
For people at home, I don't know if people at home this is really, really, really inside
No
baseball.
question.
and people at home are just going to kind of.
Right.
Is this the card that the Republicans have to play now, knowing that maybe a legal challenge might not work? Is this why we're seeing so much fervor, because this could be the way to stop the map or make it real for people at home?
Well, I do think that it's appropriate to call attention to the folks back home about the promises that have been made, and that their fate in terms of what district they may lie within is being made by people behind closed doors with maybe selective input from selective interest groups, and it's likely to be bad enough that the Democrat leaders don't want those lines seen for very long before the votes are taken. I mean, I do find when I go back home, that's a message that people pay attention to. They don't like, I mean, there's a reason we're supposed to have an open government. They don't like when things happen like this. Now, as far as litigation, I mean, that's not an either or. The concern over the process that not just Republicans have, but good government groups have as well, and a litigation strategy if the map is constitutionally defective, aren't mutually exclusive. You could do both of those.